Truth Espresso, Episode 3.
Face it, we all would rather sleep in this morning. That's why God gave us espresso, to kickstart our zombified corpses into hyperdrive. And now, giving your mind and soul the morning shot of truth it craves. This is Truth Espresso with Daniel Minnick.
Hello again, this is Daniel Minnick, and welcome to Truth Espresso. In this episode, we are going to talk about the 10 best college majors for jobs. Now, in the last episode, we talked about the 10 worst college majors for jobs. So this time, we're going to see the 10 best majors, and we're going to notice a pattern. We are going to notice why these majors are different from the majors we looked at in the last episode. So remember that choosing a major merely based on your passion is not necessarily going to land you a job. Just following the passion and the money will follow is a myth. When choosing a major for college, we need to be informed about the market for the jobs that require the skills that we get with our major. Also, we need to keep in mind how many people pursue the major we want versus how many actual job openings there are that specifically employ that knowledge. We need to look simply at supply and demand. And I'm going to reiterate this sort of a grid that we discussed in the last episode. So if there is a high supply of that degree and a low demand for the skills, then you might have difficulty finding a job that's related to those skills. If there's a high supply of the degree but a high demand for the skills, you'll possibly find a job, but it's going to be a low-paying job. Likewise, if there is a low supply of the degree and a low demand for the skills, you might be in the same situation. You might possibly find a job, but it's going to not pay very well. But lastly, and this is what these majors, the 10 best college majors for getting a job, they're going to fall into this category. There's going to be a relatively low supply of people who have these degrees, but there's going to be a very, very high demand for the skills. And if there's a low supply of the degree and a high demand for skills, you can bet that there will be a high availability of high-paying jobs. So, in no uncertain order, this is the order presented by my resource here. This is from time.com, so I would think time.com would be a pretty good authority for listing these majors and not really pulling them out of their hat. So, without further ado, number 10 of the best college majors for jobs, mining and mineral engineering. Well, what is that? Well, with mining and mineral engineering, you're going to learn how to extract valuable minerals and stones from the ground. Now, there are lots of people who like to go, ooh, shiny at gold and silver and rubies and emeralds and diamonds. There's a reason that Kay Jewelers has been around for a while. So Kay Jewelers, for example, got their gold and silver necklaces and rings with diamonds because someone knew how to get the materials out of the ground. So mining and mineral engineering is not really about learning how to use a pickaxe or shovel. Of course, you're going to know how to do that with a degree in it, but the pickaxe and the shovel are for your employees. The mining and mineral engineering graduate is going to learn how to build mines. And you think, oh, I just got to just toss a stick of dynamite and blow a big hole in the earth. Well, building mines requires serious math, logistics, and understanding the properties of rocks to know how to find deposits of metals and stones and be able to build mines that will be safe for digging this stuff up. And when you think about it, almost everything we use as consumers actually starts with this work. Mining and mineral engineering is really the first order stage of production. So no wonder mining and mineral engineering graduates are in high demand. Number 9, metallurgic engineering. So metallurgic engineering is not just the magic of alchemy from centuries ago. The people in the Middle Ages, you picture them melting metals together, and they're desperately trying to create their own gold. Well, metallurgic engineering is not alchemy. Metallurgic engineering is really the second order stage of production. It is the next step in manufacturing. So this type of person might take the raw materials that the mining and mineral engineering person dug out of the ground, and then knowing the properties of metal and really understanding how to turn this metal, these raw materials, into parts that can then be used for machines. So someone who has a metallurgic engineering degree will deal with properties of metals and how they can really operate as usable parts. So this is a very high in-demand skill that's going to pay you a lot of money. It's going to be a high salary, and you're probably not going to have difficulty finding a job if you get this degree. Number 8, mechanical engineering. So we've all heard of mechanical engineering. This is a very well-known field. It has been around for over 100 years. But obviously, mechanical engineering has evolved over that time. So mechanical engineering deals with how to create or use parts together with a source of energy, say fossil fuels or electricity, to make things that do things for us. So when you think about it, mining and mineral engineering is the first order stage of production. Metallurgic engineering is the second order stage of production. Mechanical engineering would use the parts that metallurgic engineers create and actually know how to put them together and make them work together. So mechanical engineering would be the third order stage of production. Are we kind of seeing a pattern developing here? Very high technical knowledge in actually creating products that people want to buy and use. Number 7 on the list, naval architecture and marine engineering. So what is naval architecture and marine engineering? Well, this primarily deals with ship design, building big boats for the military or even for civilian travel such as cruises. So, when we think about it, if you've ever made those paper boats and had them float in the bathtub, or, this is not really just like digging out a banana-shaped thing for floating. There is a lot of math and science and logistics and calculus that goes into building a better Titanic. So think about the need for buoyancy. Think about the need for better fuel efficiency, and think about the integrity, making sure the boat doesn't fall apart. I mean, really, a lot hinges upon the knowledge that someone would have in this kind of engineering job to give us the faith to actually set foot on a boat and expect it to carry us over the water without sinking, or if it hits a little rock, just falling to pieces. And of course, some parts of a boat can be replaceable, so a naval architect or marine engineer might also design replaceable parts that can be swapped out to repair boats that might have been broken. So this is a very high knowledge, high technical degree that we're talking about here. So no wonder a degree in naval architecture and marine engineering commands a high salary. Number 6, electrical engineering. No, this is not really just about Thomas Edison and inventing the light bulb. At least maybe that's how it started, or with Benjamin Franklin flying a kite. Think about how many things we have and use every day that runs on electricity. Well, if you see electricity, if you're using a computer or a phone, or you flip on the light switch, or, pretty much everything we do in the 21st century, thank an electrical engineer. And that knowledge is not minute. That is some serious engineering knowledge required to make sure things work in harmony and don't just blow up in your face. So an electrical engineer has intricate knowledge of connections and wires and switches and circuit boards, and they have to do calculations for wattage and all that kind of goodness to make sure that the lights turn on and don't blow up our house or set it on fire. And with electrical engineering, it's really pretty much both. You can work either as a salaried employee, or you can be a contract tradesperson. So electrical engineering is almost like being a college graduate working as a tradesman. Number 5 on our list is chemical engineering. So what is chemical engineering all about? Is it, are the witches that make brews in a cauldron, are they chemical engineers? Or do we think of chemical engineers as mad scientists with frizzy hair and wearing lab coats and laughing maniacally as they mix different colored liquids together in test tubes to make other color liquids and shout, "Eureka"? Well, chemical engineers are more than mad scientists. Think about plastics. Think about, you might get a bottle of water from the vending machine, or the case on your cell phone might be made of plastic. Or think about or it might not even just be about plastics. There's other useful compounds. Chemical engineers can deal with properties of metal too. Think about this also. How many entrepreneurs who come up with ideas of products rely on chemical engineers actually to develop and fashion these ideas into products? So chemical engineers are very needed in our economy. So therefore, with all that heavy knowledge that they take, there are very few, relatively speaking, chemical engineering graduates relative to the demand for their expertise. So no wonder they command a very high salary. Number 4, aerospace engineering. Now, when I think of aerospace engineering, I think of Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story saying, "To infinity and beyond." Well, there's more to aerospace engineering than this. What do aerospace engineers do? They design spacecraft for NASA and aircraft for the military. Or, of course, think anytime if you have a job where you go on business trips, or even if you need to fly after a semester in school to Meet your friends and relatives. You fly an airplane, so aerospace engineers are all about designing or building a better aircraft for the military, for spaceships, or even for civilian travel. But one potential pitfall for aerospace engineers, especially if they're focused on building spacecraft for NASA, well, if the space wars dry up, then they might find themselves out of a job. If they're building lots of aircraft for the military because of a big war, well, there's an issue with wartime dependency. If that war starts to die down, then maybe they might end up being laid off. But there's always demand for aerospace engineering, at least for civilian travel. So there's always going to be jobs there, but there's a potential pitfall for the specific area in which you use aerospace engineering skills. But when you have a job as an aerospace engineer, it's going to pay you a pretty penny. Number 3 on the list, mathematics and computer sciences. Well, this is kind of the area where yours truly is in. I work as a software developer. And so computer sciences and computer engineering, software information systems, there's different degrees with different specializations, but have to do with computer programming. Computer sciences is a broad and adaptive field. Many machines are created by engineers and they operate through software. And so if an engineer creates a computer, a software engineer or a software developer programs the software to make the machine do some really useful things. And I checked out money at usnews.com, so I will include the link on the show notes, but money.usnews.com has a best jobs for careers ranking. They have a list of the 100 best jobs, and according to US News, software developer is the best job because of the high demand for software developers, and software developer commands a high median salary. In fact, let me give you a personal example. Almost every single day, I get either a phone call or an email message from a recruiter begging me for an interview for what some of their clients might call an urgent job opening. So when you think about it, is the archaeology major getting recruiters calling them for an urgent position to do archaeology? No, not really. But computer science makes sense. Computer programming drives the economy today. And so it's a good chance that if I'm getting a daily call or an email for urgent job openings for clients, then this is probably a good field to be in. I can personally vouch for being a software developer that if you want to be a software developer, that is a good field to get into. Number 2 on our list, pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences and administration. Well, that's quite a mouthful right there. But when I'm talking about pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences, I'm not talking about the assistants who merely take the orders and fill the bottles with the amounts that they're instructed to fill. We're talking about the people who actually know how much of something, how much of a substance, or how many pills should go into the bottle. And we're talking more about the science of developing drugs to treat or cure ailments. So the knowledge of how much dosage and what drugs shouldn't be taken together, and all the possible side effects of taking these drugs, that's what this major would deal with. Number 1, petroleum engineering. Petroleum engineering is often number one on a list of high salaried jobs, majors that result in high salaried jobs for a reason. Oil is politics, and oil means high paying jobs. So a petroleum engineering person is not just someone who, in days gone by, pumps your gas for you. This is someone who has to know how to determine where to find oil and the techniques for drilling oil. This is someone who learns how to design and operate oil rigs. Now, something with a petroleum engineering degree that makes it even more command a higher salary than most of the times you'd get even being a software developer is the demand. Not only mentally demanding, you have to be very good at math, very good at engineering techniques. You really need to know your stuff, but also you might even be physically involved in working on an oil rig, and that could be a potentially dangerous job. So, high math and engineering skills combined with working a very dangerous job commands an extra high wage. However, there's one pitfall with petroleum engineering. However, the volatility of oil prices in international politics could result in job volatility. But nevertheless, oil's not going away anytime soon. You might say that's unfortunate, but that's reality. And if you want to make really the best salary you could get as an employee, then petroleum engineering is your major. So, in concluding every list, this is just one list from one website, but I have searched many websites and looked at many lists of top majors, but every list of top majors is going to vary, but the same concept is evident. I don't know if you have seen a word. There's one particular word that has been found in most of these majors. Engineering, and more engineering. Science, technology, engineering, and math, or medicine in the case of pharmacy, these all require rigorous training in high-level math, algorithms, and or hard sciences. These are all what make the industrialized world go around. They are high in demand because they meet existing needs now or even uncover potential needs we didn't even realize we had. They all try to make current activities better and more efficient to cut costs and free up capital for more investment. If you need to go see a doctor, as often many of us do, and we sometimes can't even control that need, there's a reason that doctors make a lot of money. When doctors prescribe things for us to take that help us, there's a reason that pharmacy majors and the drug companies make a lot of money because we depend on them. There's a reason that all those engineers in first, second, third, fourth, whatever stages of production make a lot of money because all the products that we use depend on engineers. So if making money is a goal, and it's kind of a laudable goal when you consider that getting a college degree could land you a fairly decent-sized student loan. Being able to pay off that student loan pretty quickly is a good thing to do. And so if you're not sure what you want to major in and you're ready to roll up your sleeves and do some serious learning and some serious hard work, I would recommend one of these engineering majors. You simply can't go wrong as far as being able to make money, pay off your debt, and possibly, if your goal is to retire, you might be able to retire at a fairly decent age. So that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode of Truth Espresso when we talk about some habits, some habits that can actually cost us a lot of money and we don't even realize it.
Thank you for waking up with Truth Espresso. Good morning, and God bless your day.
Hey friends, Daniel Minnick here again. If you liked waking up to this episode of Truth Espresso, I would really appreciate it if you would rate it on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or whatever application you use to listen to Truth Espresso.